What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Fad Gadget. And once again, major shout out to Mr. Solo. I don't know how many people are going to see this on YouTube, which is to say the first Fad Gadget reaction I did was allowed to post on YouTube, but only in 2 countries out of all those in the world, meaning it got through in the US and Canada, but in every other country it was blocked, and I think I had to put the reaction over on my Patreon because, more than half of my audience comes from Europe in terms of the people who follow my YouTube channel. So yes, we'll see what happens with this one. If it gets blocked, or at least mostly blocked, I'll do the same thing. In any case, I don't remember what track list I had used to figure out what the first track to react to was, which is to say, in the folder that I'm working from, there's no clear indication of track numbers. Maybe they're in the metadata, but this time I just chose a title that jumped out to me, which is funny because this one is 4M, which is just 1 letter and 1 number, and in that regard, I really don't know what to make of it, so let's just see what it is. This is 4M by Fad Gadget, and it's included in a large compilation of his work provided by a great friend of the channel, Mr. Solo. Contrast. Madness. Actually reminds me a little bit of the duet emo material, which feels like an appropriate relationship in the sense that that group included a young Daniel Miller, and my understanding is that Mr. Gadget here was on, is Mr. Tovey? I'm trying to remember the name, but that he was on Mute Records, which is sort of run by Daniel Miller. So yeah, it's experimental, it's very electronic. There was that crazy contrast where there were sections which were more consonant and very computerized, but in a melodic way, almost like it was a computer setting a nature scene, meaning like robot butterflies and a robotic landscape of like analog but mechanical grasses and so on, and then it would switch into those really dissonant sections which almost sounded like, you know, the soundtrack to a computer overthrow of humans and other living beings, something very menacing and discordant, designed to unsettle biological organisms. And you know, like that one particular layer of that almost sounded like an evil Pong game or something. So I was intrigued by the two-sided nature of the track, and then breaking that two-sided nature, or at least operating independently of it, we have these baby coos. And at first I wasn't even sure if that's what it was. It sounded like someone, you know, I was going to make the joke, is that them moving furniture, or is that more like a sensual sound? But I think there was like an effect on it, because then it became clearly like higher pitched and more obviously like a baby or infant cooing, or, you know, making sort of random sounds based on their emotional experience. But that operated rhythmically and melodically independent of the rest of the track. So yeah, I mean, I suppose at the start, that winding, I was already thinking like it could be like a music box or something, and I was expecting maybe a tinny or very, what's the right word for that music box sound, where it sounds like it's a melody but it's sort of stifled by or encased within metal and wood and so on. But that's not what came. So then I was thinking like, you know, is it a clock or something? So I don't really know if that relates to the baby, but again, if you had a music box and you were trying to set like a lullaby for them to go to sleep by, you might wind it first. So maybe there's a connection there. There's no lyrics per se, so I have no idea what 4M means, but yeah, a really crazy tune. Again, I listen to some very dissonant techno with like wicked synths that are, you know, maybe an acquired taste, where a lot of folks, even those maybe who are cool with techno, if they heard it, they might be like, woof, that's pretty wicked to the ear. That's, you know, it's not a pleasing sound, at least at first. Now, it's funny about those kind of sounds, because wicked dissonant sounds, they can really hit the spot, though often it takes you a moment to sort of appreciate what they're doing. Here, I felt like it was almost pushing the envelope and going so dissonant and wicked and discordant that, again, it was almost like it's what the computers would play if they were trying to overthrow humanity and just, you know, provide a sonic environment that made us incapable rather, of thinking or functioning. And then it would go back into this fluttery, more melodic section. So a really crazy tune. Again, if you're seeing this, I guess it got through. Maybe you're seeing it over on Patreon because it didn't get through, but either way, we'll keep going through Fad Gadget. Shout out to Mr. Solo. Let me know what you think, and I will see you next time. Peace.